What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. It's Wednesday, so this is a new episode of Dear Black Gay Man Podcast, and this is still our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is our midweek reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men who love black gay men. I am Jay the Gentleman. This is Dear Black Gay Man Podcast. Now let's get into the episode. So as a podcaster, I feel it is important to listen to other podcasts. One of them that I absolutely admire, respect, and adore is the Surface Level Podcast. And they had posted a reel.
Do y'all think the black queer couples versus black and white queer couples discourse brings a necessary or unnecessary discussion?
When you scroll down that thread and you see countless examples of us with the European persuasion, it's like daunting.
And very rarely do I don't try to give my opinion about dating in general. More often, I try to ask questions. I'm not perfect. I do give opinions at times, I think. Or maybe I'm very opinionated. Y'all can tell me in the comments. But I wanted to add in my 2 cents to this topic because I am intrigued by it. And spoiler alert, my views drift back to slavery and oppression. So here we go. I truly believe that a black man dating another black man is a revolutionary act. A black person dating a black person is a revolutionary act, but the podcast is called Dear Black Gay Men. So clearly I'm talking about black men who are gay. I believe that we understand each other. I dated a white guy once, and he was so different. He really enjoyed me. He really liked me, but he was just so culturally different than I was that became a barrier on its own. I wanted to talk about, like Thanksgiving. We dated around Thanksgiving. And while I'm thinking about collard greens and cornbread and dressing and the black people's things that are cultural staples. I did not grow up on mac and cheese, but mac and cheese is the thing that we do for Thanksgiving. He had no idea about that. And the icing on the cake, the nail in the coffin was when he called dressing stuffing. Eye roll. And then but since then, that happened, in my early 20s. But since then, I always wanted to put my finger on, well, why is it that when they get on, they ask for a white girl? As he who shall not be named has said in, rap lyrics back when he was normal. And I think I have uncovered something. Y'all can tell me in the comments if I am onto something or not, but I think I've uncovered something. As black men, when we date, we are looking for the come up. Our whole life is built around prominence, around significance, around success. Black gay men will get a degree. We will buy a house. We will buy the nicest car. We will wear the nicest clothes because a lot of our lives are rooted in a quest for prominence, a quest for significance. We live in a white supremacist society where everywhere around us is oppression. And so our job in life that we are taught directly and indirectly from a young age is you need to be significant. For some of us, that sounded like get you a good job, marry a good woman, have you a couple kids, and create your own little sphere of significance inside your family. For others, it was you need to be the best, twice as good to get half as much. All of us, I would argue, to some degree, have either been encouraged towards significance, or we have sought out significance in spite of what's around us. That I think is a pretty common black story. White people, however, don't have to yearn for significance. They don't need that. They are significant on its face. We live in a white supremacist society. So white people by default in our culture, maybe not to us individually or to black culture, but white people in broader American society are significant. The richest people of the richest American companies, the owners of the most prominent American companies are all white men. The C-suites at most of the organizations that we Black people work for, thrive in, advance, are probably white people. The executive director and the CEO of the organization, my daytime job, white guy. White people don't need to quest for, they don't need to work for significance because they're born into it. And so along the way, white people have the luxury, the privilege, if you will, of now focusing on individual interests. And so what happens is Black person striving for significance seeks out, finds his or her significance, and then next thing you know, they find somebody that is, now they can focus on dating, now they can focus on relationship, now they can focus on love interest because they have achieved significance. And so they find someone who is equally focused on dating. And that happens to be a white man. Because notice, most of the prominent interracial couples that we can think of in gay culture, it is a very, very, on its face, a prominent Black man and some white guy that's plucked out of the universe. Karamo Brown and his partner. Karamo Brown has a daytime talk show, is on Queer Eye is on the new Queer Eye. He has been on Real World. He has sought out prominence, achieved significance, that thing that Black people are ingrained, indoctrinated in to believe that we need. And then when he gets to a level where he can now divert his attention to love, white guy. Because now that white guy has equal significance and focus on love too. It's just Karamo had to work for it and the white guy didn't. Sean T. He grinded it out on T25. I just watched the pilot of Noah's Ark, and Sean T was Alex's love interest in the pilot until they recasted Gregory Keith. But he grinded it out. T25, personal training, social media, the whole nine. And then by the time he gets to where he doesn't have to work for significance, white guy. Because that white guy at that season, whenever they met, also was not focused on significance. He was focused on love. Billy Porter, Todrick Hall. There are several of us who are these very, very prominent, very, very forward-facing Black people in relationships with white men, because the lesson that we take from childhood is you have to fight for significance. And then when you achieve significance, then you can focus on other things like love. Now, the flip side of it is for normal people, for us down here in the real world that aren't on television and, you know, are living our normal lives, we are still fighting for significance because somewhere along our cultural story, we were taught that whatever we have achieved, there's still another level. Get you that bachelor's degree, and then we're in the back of our head, I will wager that most of us said, get the master's. Get you that master's degree, and somewhere in the back of our mind it says start that business or get that PhD or get the next level, and then you can focus on this other stuff. And I would wager a lot of us think of everything like that. Myself, this podcast is my passion project. It is my goal. It is it lights me up every day. So much so to where I can't focus on anything else. Get the next 1,000 subscribers, get the next brand deal, book the next gig, get the next whatever, and then I can focus on it. And I will wager that a lot of us in the hustle, in the grind of life, are constantly thinking, get to the next level, and then I can focus on matters of the heart. But I think the bigger lesson is a lot of us are carrying that narrative, and the underpinnings of it is we're not good enough. We are a culture full of people who feel as if we are not good enough as we are, so that we have to constantly strive to the next thing. I can't tell you how many doctors I know that are Black, gay, and single. Dr. such and such, black, gay, and single. Because we spent all of the years that we want to put all this energy, our patient years where we can fuck shit up with high school sweethearts, we put that into achieving doctor status to where now we ain't got the patience and we're, older, wiser, and less patient. And no one can rise to the occasion of our love interests. And it really is because somewhere in the back of our head, I truly believe that we have told ourselves that whatever success I have achieved, there is another level that is more appropriate for me to divert my attention. But the real stinking thinking is the fact that leaning into my heart, my emotions, my vulnerabilities, my soft spots is a diversion. The idea that being emotional, being sensate, being close and proximal to someone's heart, someone else's vulnerability, someone's courageous moments, the fact that that is a diversion from what is actually important, I'm using the air quotes around that, that's the real fucked up piece. So I think that the conversation about interracial relationships is not so much about the white man. It is what is the language that we have told ourselves that makes dating black people when you have reached success so difficult. Because if I am successful, if I am significant, I probably wouldn't want to focus on someone who is still in the grind because they can't focus on me like I want to focus on them. But this white man can, because he don't have to grind. He's grinded out. He's done grinding. Or he may never have had to grind. So what happens is we get to this place where we no longer have to grind. And then our kinsmen, our tribes people, the people that look and walk and talk like us are still grinding. And so we end up diverting our attention to people who have time and space and their emotions and their heart and their life for us. And that more often than not looks like someone who does not mirror our cultural DNA. I don't know what the outcome of that is. I don't know how to open our heart space to where we can be really sensitive to the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. But I'm hoping that this podcast is creating in us a awareness that our emotional life is important. Our emotional life has significance. I truly believe that I am in a space where the next level of my life, the big coup de grace, the big breakthrough will come when I have committed myself to somebody. Not that I found him, but that I have committed to him, whomever he may be. And I truly believe that there are levels of success that I may never see until he and I are together. We are one. But until then, dear black gay men, my straight cousin told me this. He said, bro, hustle don't have to be that hard. That was our show. I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG and Facebook. If this episode made you feel a little more dope, be sure to subscribe on YouTube, like the video, share it with someone who needs a dopeness reminder. Follow at Dear Black Gay Men on social so you never miss a thing. You can stream us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Spotify. You can watch us on YouTube. This has been Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I will talk to you next time. Bye.